The last entry in Daniel's diary read, "The car won't start. I'm trapped." When police found his car a month after his disappearance, it started right away. The diary was inside the cabin, but Daniel, whatever he decided to do, is described in his journal. Day 1, February 10th. Made it to the cabin around noon. The drive took almost 5 hours, though Dad used to do it in 4. Maybe I drove slower than I should have, putting off the moment I'd be here alone, or maybe I just didn't want to end up in a wreck on these winding mountain switchbacks. The key was where Mom promised, under the 3rd stone from the left corner of the porch. Dad always hid it there. Funny how some things don't change even after someone's gone. The cabin looks exactly the same as it did 2 years ago when we all came here for Christmas. Same brown wooden siding, same green door that sticks at the threshold, the same 3 steps to the porch, steps I once fell from and scraped my knee. Dad laughed then, but he patched me up with a bandage and said, "Falling is fine, as long as you know how to get up again." Right now, standing before that door, I feel like that 10-year-old boy all over again. Only Dad's gone, and there's no one to fix the hurt. Inside, it smells of dust and stale air. The furniture's covered in white sheets like ghosts. I yanked the cover off the couch and nearly choked on the cloud of dust. The house is cold. The thermometer on the wall shows 4 degrees Celsius. Took an hour to light the fireplace. The logs are damp, reluctant to catch. Hands numb from working with the kindling. I brought enough food for a week, maybe 2. No idea how long I'll stay. Mom said the realtor would come by the end of the month and show the cabin to potential buyers. Till then, the place is mine. The last time I can be here. After it's sold, this place becomes someone else's. I don't know why I came. Maybe I wanted to feel closer to Dad. Maybe I just ran away from all the nightmares, from the neighbors' glances, from the whispers at the memorial, from Mom crying at night, thinking I can't hear. Dad shot himself in the garage. January 7th. I found him. Won't go into the details. Some things are better left unrecorded. Some images shouldn't be refreshed, even though they won't go away. The inheritance turned out larger than I thought. The insurance, the savings, this cabin. Mom says I should put the money towards school, but I quit my job and came here. Maybe it was foolish, but sitting here by the fireplace with a mug of hot tea, it's the first time in a month I've felt anything like peace. It's been snowing since early morning. By evening, the drifts were nearly knee-high. Good thing I made it in time. Tomorrow, the roads will probably be completely snowed under, but I don't need to go anywhere. I have food, firewood, books. I can just stay here and not think about anything. The phone barely gets a signal, one bar that keeps cutting out. I texted Mom to say I'd arrived safely. She replied she was worried. I said everything was fine. A lie. I'll go to bed early tonight, tired from the trip. Maybe tomorrow I'll unpack and go for a walk if the snow lets up, though most likely I'll just sit by the fire. It's so quiet here, unusually quiet compared to the city. Day 2, February 11th. Woke around 9. Slept like the dead. Probably the first time in a month I've really rested. No nightmares, no waking up sweating in the night, just blackness, then waking to sunlight filtering through curtains. The snow stopped overnight. Morning was clear and frosty. I looked out and gasped. Everything was white, completely white. Trees bent under the weight of snow, the drifts waist-high. The path to the cabin was completely hidden. Good thing I don't have anywhere to go. I made breakfast, eggs and bacon, coffee, sat by the window watching the forest. It's beautiful here. Peaceful. For some reason I thought of what Dad said, that when he retired he'd move here for good. He said city life kills people, but here you can breathe. He never made it to retirement. He killed himself instead, didn't wait for the city to do it. After breakfast I decided to take a walk around the cabin. The snow was deep, hard to walk. I circled the property, checked the woodshed. There should be enough wood for a month, maybe more. Dad always stocked up. I returned to the house, cold but satisfied. Heated some soup and sat by the fire with a book. Brought several volumes I'd been meaning to read. King, Lovecraft, horror stories, of all things. Maybe not wise to bring those when I'm alone in the woods, but I've always liked scary tales. Dad said, never fear ghosts, fear living people. They're the ones who can hurt you. I wonder if he was afraid of himself before pulling the trigger. In the evening, I tried calling Mom, but there was no signal at all, not even one bar. Probably the snow knocked down a tower. Maybe it's always like this after a blizzard here. No big deal. Maybe the connection will come back tomorrow. I'm sitting by the fire. The flames crackle. It's dark outside, though it's only 6 in the evening. Winter nights get dark early. The silence is absolute. In the city, you always hear sounds, cars, voices, sirens. Here, nothing but the fire's crackle and the creaking of this old cabin. Old houses always creak. Wood dries out, beams settle. It's normal. For some reason, I don't want to sleep, even though it's late. I'll sit a little longer and read. Day 3, February 12th. Something strange happened. In the morning, I stepped out onto the porch to get some fresh air. It snowed again overnight, but not as heavily, 10 centimeters, no more. And then I saw the tracks. They started at the edge of the forest and came right up to the cabin, circled around the right side, passed by the windows, then headed back into the woods. Human footprints. Clear prints from boots, an adult man's. I just stood and stared for about 2 minutes, trying to figure out when they could have appeared. Snow fell during the night, so the prints must have been made after the snowfall, meaning someone came up to the cabin early this morning or even in the pre-dawn hours. My first thought was to call the police, but the phone still wasn't working. Second thought was to jump in the car and leave, but I made myself calm down. Maybe it was a local hunter, ranger, maybe just checking on the place. After all, the cabin was empty for a long time. Maybe someone was just making rounds. But why at night? Why not knock on the door? I followed the tracks. They did, in fact, circle the whole house. Someone walked up to each window. By the bedroom window, the prints were the clearest. Someone must have lingered there. Then the tracks led back into the woods and vanished among the trees. I went back inside, locked the door with both locks. Checked every window. They were all locked. Good. All day I felt off, couldn't focus on reading, kept jumping up, going to the windows, staring into the forest. The trees were motionless. Silence. No one there. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. Maybe the prints were from yesterday, and I simply missed them. But no, I definitely checked the perimeter yesterday afternoon, and there were no tracks. So someone definitely came at night. Why? By evening, I tried to distract myself. Made dinner, got the fireplace going, turned on the radio. An old battery-powered receiver Dad always kept here in case the electricity went out. Picked up some station, classical music. Listened for about 20 minutes, then turned it off. Wanted voices, not music. It got dark. I'm sitting in the living room, writing this by lamplight. Fireplace burning. Outside, pure darkness, thick, impenetrable. In the city, there's always light, street lamps, neighbors' windows, passing cars. Here, nothing. If you turn off the lamp, you can't see your own hand in front of your face. Just now I thought I heard footsteps on the porch. Listened. Silence. Probably just wind or snow sliding off the roof. Old houses are full of sounds. I'm going to sleep. Things are always less frightening in daylight. Fears are a nighttime thing. Day 4, February 13th. I barely slept all night. Around 2 in the morning, I woke to a sound. I can't say exactly what it was, like someone scratching, slow, methodical. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Pause. Again. Scrape, scrape, scrape. At first I thought I was dreaming, but no. I lay there with my eyes open and the sound kept on. It came from somewhere above, on the roof. Maybe a branch, I thought. A tree next to the cabin could have bent under the snow's weight, and a branch was scraping the roof. Logical. I told myself that for 10 minutes, staring up at the dark ceiling. A branch, just a branch. But the sound was too rhythmic, too measured. If a branch scrapes in the wind, the noise is always random. But this was scrape, scrape, scrape. pause. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Like someone was intentionally, slowly dragging something across the roof. I got up, threw my jacket over my pajamas, grabbed the flashlight, and left the bedroom. It was dark and cold in the house. The fire in the hearth had long since gone out. I walked into the living room, shone my light on the windows. Saw nothing. Just the reflection of my own pale, frightened face. The sound kept going. Now it was right above me. Scrape, scrape, scrape. I stood beneath the part of the ceiling where the noise came from and froze. I shone the flashlight up, as if that could help me see what was on the roof. The sound went on for another 3 minutes, then stopped abruptly. Silence. So thick it rang in my ears. I stood there another 10 minutes, maybe more. The noise didn't return. Eventually, I went back to the bedroom, stayed in bed, still dressed, flashlight beside me. Didn't sleep until morning, just lay there listening. Every creak in the house made me flinch. Come morning, I went outside, walked around the cabin, checked the roof as best I could from the ground. No branches close by. The nearest tree was 5 meters away. Its limbs didn't even come near the roof. No new tracks, but the ones from yesterday are still there. No snow last night, so they weren't covered. I stand out here and realize I don't know what to do. Leave. The phone still doesn't work. I can't call anyone. The car's here. I have the keys. I could just jump in and drive off, but the road's probably still not cleared after the blizzard. I could get stuck halfway and be even worse off. Maybe I'm just losing my mind from being alone. Maybe it's the grief. My dad's suicide a month ago. A serious shock. Maybe my brain's just not coping. Went back inside, forced myself to eat breakfast, though I had no appetite. Tried reading, but couldn't concentrate. Every 10 minutes I went to the window, stared at the forest. During the day, I noticed something else. Near the back window, the one facing the woods, there was a bundle of twigs in the snow. Neat, as if someone had deliberately placed it there. I'm sure that spot was clear yesterday. I checked the perimeter for tracks and saw no such bundle. I walked over. The twigs were broken, not cut, laid out in a cross shape. I don't know what it means. Maybe nothing. Maybe the wind just piled them up. But there was no wind. I picked up the bundle and threw it in the fireplace. Watched it burn. The twigs were fresh, burned poorly, mostly smoked. Now it's evening. I'm sitting in the living room, fire burning, every lamp on. I don't want darkness. Checked all the locks 3 times. Door locked, windows locked. No one can get in. But what if someone's already inside? No, that's ridiculous. I searched the house this morning. No one here, just me. I'll wait for morning. Tomorrow I'll try to start the car and drive into town. There's a police station there. I'll tell them about the tracks. Maybe they'll send someone to check the property, and I'll stay in a motel for a while. Yes, that's what I'll do. Just have to make it till morning. Day 5. February 14th. The car won't start. I spent an hour trying, maybe more. Key turns, starter whirs, but engine won't catch. Maybe the battery's dead, maybe the fuel. I don't know cars. Dad did. He could fix anything. I don't even know how to change the oil. I sat in the car, pounding the steering wheel. Wanted to scream, but held back. Someone might hear. Went back inside. Tried to get a signal on the phone. Nothing. Not a single bar. Not even emergency calls get through. It says, "No network. I'm trapped." No, not trapped. Just temporarily cut off. Tomorrow, I can walk out. Nearest house is about 10 kilometers away. Maybe far, but I can make it. I have warm clothes. I'll head out at first light. Should take 3 hours. But what if something happens en route? What if I get lost or fall in a drift? Stop. Stop spiraling. I'll leave tomorrow morning. It'll be fine. Check supplies. Food for another week. Plenty of firewood. Water's fine. In worst case, I'll melt snow. I won't die here. No need to panic. But I am panicking. Heard noises again during the day. Not from the roof. From the back door. Like someone quietly trying the handle. Gently and letting go. Twists. Let's go. I stood in the living room watching the door. The handle moved. I'm not imagining it. It actually went down, then up, down, up. I grabbed the poker from the fireplace and approached the door. Stood 2 steps away, poker raised and ready to strike. Yelled, "Who's there?" The handle stopped moving. I waited a minute, 2, silence. Then very slowly I turned the key in the lock and yanked the door open, poker out. No one. Just snow and forest and silence. Stepped onto the porch, looked right, left, walked around the house. No one, no tracks in the snow, as if no one had come near. But the handle moved. I saw it. I'm not crazy. It did move. Came back inside, locked the door, dragged a heavy armchair in front of it. Now, even if someone unlocks the door from outside, they won't get in. They'll have to push the chair. I'll hear. Now I'm sitting on the floor by the fireplace, back to the fire, watching both the door and windows. Poker lies beside me. Also grabbed the big kitchen knife, the meat cleaver, and put it on my other side. The clock says it's 8 in the evening, 11 hours till dawn. I can do it. Just need to make it till morning, then I'll get out. No matter how far it is to the nearest house, no matter how deep the snow, I'll go. I just have to survive the night. Entries written later, probably late evening or at night, February 14th. Handwriting becomes less legible. I hear footsteps on the roof. They walk back and forth slowly from one end to the other. Then they stop right above the living room, right above me. I'm sitting, staring at the ceiling, picturing someone standing on the roof, looking down. Can he sense me through wood and insulation? Does he know I'm here? Dad said not to fear ghosts, fear the living. But what if it's neither ghost nor person? What if it's something else? No, don't think like that. It's just a person. Maybe a madman, maybe a criminal, but a person. You can handle a person. I have the poker, I have the knife. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Waiting. Tried to sleep, but can't. Every sound makes me jump. The house creaks. Fire pops. Wind howls. Or is it wind? Crept to the window, careful not to be seen. Pulled the curtain back a centimeter. Looked outside. Someone's there. At the edge of the woods, a still figure. Dark. Can't make out the face. Too far. Too dark. But somebody's standing. Just standing. Staring at the house. Staring at me. Let go of the curtain. Staggered away. Heart pounding so loud I hear it in my ears. Hands shaking. What do they want? Why don't they leave? Why just stand there? Maybe they'll wait till I sleep. Maybe then they'll try to come in. I won't sleep. I won't close my eyes. I'll sit here with the knife and wait. Time unknown. Clock stopped. Or maybe I just can't focus enough to check. Something was scratching at the door, long and persistent, like a dog wanting in. But it wasn't a dog. I'm sitting on the floor, listening. The scratching continues. I don't know how long. 10 minutes? An hour? Time doesn't matter. Then a knock. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. Pause. Someone is knocking. I won't open. Never. The knocking stops. Now I hear footsteps. They move slowly around the house. I hear snow crunch underfoot. Step. Pause. Step. Pause. The steps stop by the bedroom window. I look that way. The window is dark, curtains drawn, but I feel someone is standing right behind the glass, maybe trying to peer inside, maybe just standing, not moving. Maybe if I don't move, they'll think no one's here, then they'll leave. The footsteps depart. Silence. Some time passes. I don't know if it's an hour or 10 minutes. Dawn breaks. I see gray light through the curtain crack. Sunrise. I made it to dawn. Now I'll go. Grab my knife. Dress warmly. I'll walk the road, not turning off. In around 5 hours, I'll reach town. There, I'll call the police. Let them come and check. I'll never come back here. Last diary entry. Handwriting barely legible. Lines crooked. Got ready, dressed. Knife in my pocket. Another in my backpack. Water, food, all I need. I'm about to open the door and leave. Just check the window to see if anyone's outside. No tracks at all. Snow all around the house is pristine, as if no one walked here. But I heard footsteps all night long. How's that possible? Maybe the wind swept the tracks. Maybe when I open the door, the entry cuts off. Several pages are torn out. Next entry is in different handwriting, clearly from someone who found the diary later. March 21st. Around 3 in the afternoon, my partner and I came to show the house to prospective buyers. The door was open. Inside was a mess. The fire in the hearth burned out completely, ash scattered on the floor, food on the table spoiled, signs of someone staying inside everywhere, but the person was gone. The car stood outside, keys in ignition, engine worked, started first try, battery fine. Found the diary on the floor near the fireplace. Last entry dated February 14th. More than a month passed. We called the police. They searched the area thoroughly. No signs of struggle, no blood, nothing. Daniel Collins vanished without a trace. No body, no tracks, no clothing, nothing. Daniel Collins disappeared into thin air. The official version is disappearance under unknown circumstances. His mother insisted it was suicide, saying her son had sunk into depression after his father's death. Maybe he wandered into the woods and froze somewhere. Perhaps his body would be found in the spring when the snow melted. But spring came and went. Summer passed, and the body was never found. I read this diary 3 times. I don't know what to think. Maybe the boy truly lost his mind to grief and isolation. Maybe all the sounds, the tracks, the figures he saw were just hallucinations. Maybe he was alone, but his mind conjured someone else to cope with the stress. Or maybe there really was someone out there. Locals say people go missing in these woods from time to time. Not often, once every few years. They go hiking and never return. Camps and gear are found, but not the people. Officially, it's blamed on bears or hikers getting lost and freezing to death. But what if it isn't bears? What if there is something in these woods that watches, waits, stalks? Something that leaves no tracks in the snow. No one ever managed to sell the house. After Daniel's disappearance, nobody wanted to buy it. It stands empty. Sometimes I drive past on work trips and look at the dark windows, wondering if somewhere in the forest, the thing that came for Daniel Collins on that cold February night might still be wandering. And maybe one day, it will come for someone else. Note by Officer Robert Mills. March 2017. The Daniel Collins case remains open, considered possible suicide, accident, or foul play. But there's no proof. There's only a diary, full of fear and paranoia. There's an empty house, and a mother who lost first her husband, then her son. I've seen a lot in 20 years of service. Murders, missing persons, all kinds of tragedies. But this case won't leave me in peace because I was at that cabin. I did the scene inspection. And when we finished and everyone else went to their cars, I stayed out on the porch for a moment, smoked a cigarette, looked out at the woods, and felt like something was looking back. Maybe it was just the impression left by reading the diary. Maybe my imagination was playing tricks, but I stood there, smoking, feeling eyes on me, heavy, insistent, scrutinizing. I finished my cigarette faster than usual, went back to my car, and never returned to that place. The case was handed off to another officer. I asked to be taken off the investigation, saying I was overwhelmed with other cases. But in truth, I simply didn't want to go back to those woods or be near that cabin because there is something out there. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know. But it's there, and it's still waiting. Sometimes the scariest mysteries leave more questions than answers, and some places are best left undisturbed. Thank you for watching.